And hello and welcome to episode 124 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale models. And thank you very much to all of you who continue to support our show. And if you too would like to help support the show, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 per month. Your contributions help us with production costs and hosting costs of the show and are greatly appreciated. Established in 2016, the Scale Modeler Supply has developed a comprehensive range of premium acrylic lacquer paints designed specifically with the scale modeler in mind. Certified Australian made, SMS paints are tough and durable with a fast drying time that have been designed to use straight from the bottle, taking all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake and spray. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, aircraft, cars, train, science fiction or gunpla. SMS premium acrylic lacquer paints will have a colour to suit you. SMS products are available through a trusted network of stores across Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, the US, and are also now available for the first time in the UK Froome Model Centre. Check the SMS website at www.scalemodeler.com.au to find your closest stockist. These paints are on my bench and I use them all the time, so I know that you will not be disappointed. Wagons ho! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, creditors, fatted rock stars and discredited politicians. Hold on to your Stetsons, cause the boys from On the Bench are westward ho. That's right, we've booked their accommodation for Omaha 2022. And with that, let's bring in the other two recalcitrants. We'll start first with Ian. G'day, mate. How you going?
Good, thanks, Dave.
How's that for an intro?
That's pretty out there, mate.
Yeah, I know. I thought it's pretty out there.
That's pretty out there, mate.
It reminds me of loud shirt day at work. At school. Definitely.
Oh, I'm not terribly excited because the one of the hotels sort of booked out within about a day, and I got us into the second hotel, which is on the ground. So very, very excited. I think we're staying at the Marriott, which should be nice.
Oh, yeah. Marriott's got a good reputation.
Oh, it does indeed. So, Ian, what have you been up to?
Oh, just a little bit of here and there, just trying to get the faces right on my figures.
And how's that working out for you?
Slowly. Slowly at the moment. So, yeah, I'm not in any rush at the moment. I'm just quietly plodding along. I'm trying to push myself as far as I can go with the quality of my work. So that's I'm just not going to rush. I'm going to just take it nice and easy and do a proper job.
Cool bananas. Julian.
Well, not a lot, really. I've had some thoughts, but I'll share those later in the main portion of our episode.
Did it hurt?
No.
Having a thought?
No, just having a thought. Well, I don't know. I haven't thought about it too much yet because there's a lot of projects I've got outstanding, and I'm sick of it. You know, I'm really sick of it. I just want something gone, free up some motivation.
Well, you two guys are boring, so I'll launch into what I've been doing then. Absolutely nothing.
Well, hey, at least I've been doing something.
Look, I've had some stuff come in. I've got some stuff that arrived for the Musaroo Cup modelling and building. I was waiting on some decals and some stencils to arrive, which are finally arrived this week.
Lovely.
And so I'll be able to sort of move forward with that. But by and large, I've been pretty much stalled on the bench because I've been just that busy with work. And it gets to the weekend and I'm absolutely exhausted, and all I can do is just summon up the energy just to grab the remote control and change the channel on the TV. That's how busy and exhausted I've been when it comes to the weekend. So, yeah, I've got to get back onto the modelling bench. It's not that I've lost the mojo; it's that I'm just exhausted. I'm just tired. It's been a hard.
I know the feeling, mate.
Hard couple of weeks.
I know the feeling.
So,
yeah.
Anyhow,
yeah, my modeling's now just down to the weekends. A few hours here and there on the weekends.
Yeah, well,
happy to get that.
I can't even get that in at the moment. So, I mean, as it stands, I'm on potential recall for this weekend as we're recording this because there's a bit of rain moving through the state. So, tough times. Anyway.
Earthquakes, biblical floods.
Yeah, I know. All we're going to have next is, feast and famine or famines and
plagues of locusts.
Yeah, we're pretty much
it's
done.
happened here before. It's happened before.
Hey, did you see that picture on, I think it was on Facebook or something, where a 737 or something in South Africa flew through a swarm of locusts, and the entire aircraft is just stained with it, and the pilots had to do 2 go-rounds because when the locust sort of hits the windscreen, they got sort of fat residue in their bodies, and the windscreen wipers just smear it.
Yeah.
And so they had to drop their speed low enough so that the pilot could open the side window,
pop his head out,
pop his arm out, and clean the windscreen. And he's got this little gap that he used to sort of land the aircraft in for their 3rd attempt. That's astounding.
That's pretty impressive.
Well, that's what I thought was pretty impressive as well. And the pictures of the aircraft, it looks like it's just, completely covered in squashed locusts all across the nose and across the leading edge of the wings and the engines. It's
just think some poor sap's got to clean that.
And we all know what it's like trying to clean, locusts off your car once you've driven through the swarm.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yes. Being here in Australia, we've driven through the odd bug swarm.
We have indeed. Well, what about new purchases? You guys been buying anything?
No. I've been on hold mainly because of the huge backlog in postal here in Australia at the moment. So
yeah,
I'm just holding off till hopefully they get the pressure sorted off. And
yeah, because I really don't want to have like my parcel sitting in purgatory for like 3 months or something. Who knows how long,
Yeah, just for our listeners, for those outside of Australia, there's a massive backlog at the moment for parcels, and particularly those coming from overseas. And I know I've got an order in with SMS Paints. They had a very interesting sort of kit that popped up. Basically, it's a model of a airbrush that is done to look like a spaceship.
Oh, yeah. What, you got one of them?
Yeah, I ordered one of them. It comes with lights and everything. So as soon as I get it, I'll share it on Facebook for all of our listeners to have a look at. And, it should be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that.
I honestly think it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think it's really weird.
There's a lot of space. There are other spaceship models out there. So I'm not sure why you would go for the weird one that looks like an airbrush. It's supposed to look weird like an airbrush.
Well,
right?
Exactly because of that, because it looks like an airbrush, and it's something that we all use, or the majority of modelers use. So I think it'd be pretty cool juxtaposition. That it's.
And I can see the reasoning why SMS has done it, since they're a paint supplier. Why not choose an airbrush as your
model?
Oh, well, I don't think they manufactured it. I think they're just selling it.
Oh, right.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. I don't know where they got it from. I don't even know the manufacturer of the company, so I've got to actually sort of, or I'll find out once the kit arrives. But
was it plastic or 3D printed?
No, it's plastic.
No, it's plastic.
Yeah,
that is plastic.
Yep.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? Because like you wouldn't think that something as esoteric as that would warrant a plastic model kit, right?
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
It's bizarre.
Right. The thing that really got me this week was Dave sending me a picture of the Razorback.
Yes.
Scale from the Expanse series. I thought, ooh, that's quite tempting.
And a call out to Sprue Cutters. The name of the chap escapes me now, and I really apologise. But he had on his Facebook page a glorious model of the Razorback from the Expanse universe. And I thought, I might have to have one of them until I saw the scale, which put me off a bit. But I sent you the link.
144, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 144.
So I sent the link to Ian, and Ian's terribly excited.
So, yeah, we are looking for that one.
You actually going to order it?
Oh, yeah, I will, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Speaking of...
I wonder how big that is going to be, though.
Oh, they had a size on there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you really got to check the actual dimensions of the model.
Yeah, because it's only a small 2-seater craft to begin with.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that might be like quite reasonable, I suppose. But yeah,
I don't think Ian really cares. It's something from the Expanse universe, so he's happy.
I still got to get a Rocinante.
Well, there was that kit going, and you just didn't pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, I know. My bad.
It's very unusual for you. Speaking of new kits, they've announced the price of that X-Wing Not Wings Lancaster.
Officially from the company.
Well,
just price going around the internet at the moment, because what I heard was from the company was saying that don't believe the prices are out there. We haven't put anything down yet.
I have it on good authority that it's going to end up costing around $900 US.
Whoa. That is a lot more expensive.
That is incredibly expensive. I'd struggle to pull the trigger on a model that expensive.
I think someone's really doing a funny one there, mate. That's ridiculously expensive.
Well, it's no real surprise. I mean, the other rifle, right? Is it Riffield, right?
No, it wasn't Riffield. It was something.
No, it's Border Model.
Border Models, yeah.
Oh, well, Border Model, Riffield, and they're sort of roughly in the same. Well, they're the two companies that had an issue with each other a while back, and I think they're sort of priced somewhat the same anyway.
Yeah.
Oh well, they probably also think, we've got Wing Nut Wings thing, so everyone will pay top dollar for this.
And then they'll get a surprise and have to drop.
And to be honest, they're correct. Well, people will pay top dollar for it.
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm yeah.
Well, how much was that thing that you were considering getting, that
B36?
Was it the B36?
Yeah, the Peacemaker. Ian was looking at that 70-second scale.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that was going to cost around
48 scale, Dave.
Was it 48 scale?
Yeah.
That was going to cost around $1,200 Aussie.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, so when you consider that, and then this is a plastic kit, not like some multimedia kit, I think that's probably not that bad, all things considered. But that's what you're dealing with when you go into big bomber territory, right?
Yeah.
Big scale model bomber territory. It's all a bit.
Yep.
So it's the high rollers. At the casino where they have all the CEOs and oil magnates go in there. That's you.
Oh, jeez. Well, shall we get into listener mail, perhaps, gents?
I reckon that's a great idea, Dave.
We got a few up. Let me see if I can share the screen. No, because Julian hasn't allowed me to share it.
Oh, wow. Okay, there you go.
Oh, thank you very much, Julian. I'm just going to share it so that you two can also read and see what sort of mistakes I make when I read it out. First one is from Nick Pallett, who writes in, G'day, Dave, Ian and Julian. Just listened to your latest episode about TV shows and movies that inspire you, and wanting to know if you've seen the Amazon series The Man in the High Castle. It's a what-if series that shows alternative history.
I read the book and then saw the series and absolutely loved it. And I'm pretty sure someone's already made a model of one of the Nazi passenger airliners.
I struggled to get into that series, and I've got to go back and watch it again. So I think I only got it in the first 2 episodes, and I was kind of getting a bit bored. So I need to go back and rewatch it, I think, and give it its due.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's very alternate.
Yeah.
History.
Nick also writes in that saying there's the South Australian Plastic Models Association Model Expo. Well, it's actually on last weekend, and it went really well.
Yes, it did, from what I heard.
Big turnout, plenty of people on the tables and everything, got models on the tables. So it's good to see the model shows are slowly getting back into it. So thanks very much, Nick, for sort of dropping that line and letting us know about that. Next email coming in is from Paul Brown. G'day all. A few ponderings from the colonial motherland for you guys. First off, for Ian, I recently had to empty the family home for the last 54 years, which included a stash from my late father who passed 20 years ago. And they had amassed a lot of stuff over many decades. The points that Ian had raised in reference to size of the stash versus time left to build the said stash and the quality of time needed to build hundreds of models, which included 50 plus frog kits and all the other kinds, did not stack up by any measure of time. I've started the catalogue and stash. Oh, good luck with that, Paul. That takes a long time.
It's a huge job doing that. I know. I've done it.
The reason for the waffle is a lot of the enjoyment, the purchase and stockpiling had long passed, and Ian's comments about would you rather build a frog kit from 40, 50 years ago or a modern day equivalent rang long and hard with me. As for this reason, the whole stash, apart from a few selected items, were disposed of for free, knowing that someone else is going to get a lot of enjoyment, and modelling for me is about sharing skill and enjoyment. And the fact that it brought a massive smile to a young person was payment enough. And a massive thanks to OTB and Ian in particular, for without the discussions on the pod, I doubt the stash outcome would have been the same. Well, that's fantastic to hear, Paul.
Welcome, Paul. No worries. Glad we could help.
Paul from Liverpool. Thanks very much, mate.
Good.
Paul, I'm going to probably get this wrong. Heberley.
That's David. It actually
Sorry,
says.
David Heberley. Got his first name
Wow.
wrong.
Coincidentally, David is also your name, so you should probably recognize it.
I know. I still had the other email. I'm like, okay. David writes in, hello, I've listened to you guys since the beginning and love the banter. Truth is, anyone from Australia reading a dictionary would be fascinating for me and love your accents. And he says that he's currently working on the AFE Club M109 and has to say that it is overkill. Why mould one piece when you can make 3? Anyway, just enough PE to make me happy. I wanted to share this with Ian, but then I superglued my 2 fingers together and spent the rest of the evening trying to get them apart. Ultimately, a knife was involved. They've healed enough to let me type this message. I vow to fight on and won't let some blood get in the way. Keep up the good work and hope to see you next year at the Nats. And that's from David, who comes from Fort Crook in Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, looking forward to it, David. Yes.
There you go. Thanks,
And
mate.
the photos look quite nice too.
Yeah, it's great little. He's quite an apt little builder there,
Orange
isn't he?
baskets, yeah. Very, very nice. Nice photo etch work.
Very nice photo etch work.
Very impressed.
Well done, that man. Next one comes from Don Gilman, who hails all the way from the great state of Texas in the US, of course. Thank you for all the media and models crossover. I now have bookmarked for Hell's Reach for later viewing. As far as models and movies and anime, one of the first models I picked up as we entered the COVID lockdown, I built the little Al tank from Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, tanks, yeah.
And how about an episode on Aussie women who build models? Note how I phrase that, no confusion, I hope. Well, Don, I have tried extensively to get an Aussie Sheila who builds models onto the show with little or no success. They just don't want to come on. They're very shy. So there you go.
I've never met one.
Oh, there's no, there's a couple.
Yeah, it's a few.
Oh, actually, I met one that does figures at Model Expo.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Thank you very much, Don R. Gilman from Texas. Gonna try and get that one on because I've got some issues. No, sorry, that's the wrong one. I'm getting there, guys. Sorry. Okay, here we go from Chris Cairns, who comes from Queensland. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Thought I would pose the question to yourselves and potentially your audience, asking if you ever encounter problems by tackling a subject that you are too familiar with.
Ooh.
I recently left the Air Force after 15 years, having worked on F-111s, C-130s, C-17s, Super Hornet and Growler aircraft, and have come to realise that building any of these types is a bad idea. I'm fairly critical of any RAAF F-111 or Super Hornet builds, especially, and am my own worst enemy when building them. The worst example is I've been working on and off on a 1/32nd scale RAAF Super Hornet since my first posting to the aircraft back in 2011. I've invested far too much money into just about every piece of aftermarket was ever produced over the years for the particular subject, and I'm still not happy where the progress is headed because I'm so familiar with how it should look. It is a little disheartening to see it falling short of what I had envisaged, particularly because of the detail that is or isn't visible in the larger scale. To make it worse, one of the Super Hornet pilots recently commissioned me to build the same kit for him, and stupidly I agreed. And same stupid self-imposed expectations are dragging out the progress of his kit, noting that he is not a modeler, so any finished 1/32nd Super Hornet is likely to look impressive to him as a casual observer. I'll just insert a comment here, and got to say to you, Chris, you should know that a pilot is a pilot, and they're not really that good at the engineering side of stuff. They just push your stick forward and they fly the aircraft. So I reckon anything you'd make him he'd be happy with. Anyway, he continues on. Curious to hear if any of you have similar experiences with any of your build subjects, or if you have any thoughts or recommendations on how to navigate this problem other than to shut up and build it. Keep up the great effort and content, and look forward to many more episodes, keeping me company both on the bench or mowing the lawn. Cheers, Chris from Queensland. Gents, what are your thoughts?
Oh,
Well,
yeah, it's a slippery slope when you're overly familiar with the subject. Because if you want to just keep pushing and pushing, you'll get to a point where you're never going to finish it.
well, it's more common than you think because there's a lot of modelers out there who are more, they've been drilling into photos of their particular subject for years, where the people who actually use them just sort of casually use them for, hours and hours and hours, but didn't really think about what they were using, right? It's like Dave with the M11 M113s,
M113s.
yeah.
APCs, the APCs, yeah.
You never stopped to, take in any of the details of it. You were just there to use it and leave.
Well, that's right. So when I was in the green machine, I never thought, back in those days, I need to pay attention to the particular shade of the olive drab or where a particular, ammunition stowage is, because it just jumped in and used them. You weren't looking at them with a modeler's eye. But I think Chris,
That's it, the modeler's eye.
Yeah, but I think because Chris was a maintainer of the particular aircraft, he's a lot more sort of detailed and invested in it than perhaps myself would be as a grunt or as a casual observer.
So, yeah, but on one hand, though, that'll make building the kit for this pilot friend of his a lot easier. Because he'll hold himself to far greater standards than that person will.
True, but I mean...
But do you want to take the fun out of building it?
Oh, that's a good point.
That's the problem. You start going too deep and seeing too many problems. And when it starts taking the fun out of the build, that's usually when you got to draw the line, in my opinion, anyway.
And, you'll never hit the levels of detail that you want out of it unless you really get into scratch building and maybe even 3D printing.
Yeah, start from nothing and work from the way up. Otherwise, you're forever fixing up everyone else's slight little imperfections and mistakes.
Yeah. And also, it's good to bear in mind that the 32nd scale kit may not be the most detailed kit, right? You might have more aftermarket options if you go to 48 scale. Sure, it's easier to scratch build stuff for 32nd scale, but, I mean, you got to balance that against available aftermarket and how much attention this particular kit gets in your chosen scale.
Yeah, well, that's...
I mean, like, there are a lot of Italian subjects that I still want to build, but, there's no good kits in 48. But, in some cases, there's a much better one in 172, but that's not my scale.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 2 recommendations for Chris. First of all, if you're going to build a Super Hornet, just grab a 1/72nd scale and build that, because there's no way you're going to get the detail into a 72nd scale kit anyway. So just build it for the fun of it, or go and build something completely different that you're not familiar with anyway. Like, I don't know, build a tank, build an aircraft from World War II or something like that, completely, that you have no, familiarity with.
Yeah, but that's dodging the problem.
Yeah,
no, exactly. It's not. The idea is to get the juices flowing.
I reckon what I say, I'm going with go as far as till you start getting cheesed off with the kit, and then draw the line there.
Okay.
You don't want to get you. I know you're loving building this kit. You want to build the ultimate F-18, but you don't want to drive yourself mad doing it.
And in any case, like, even if you're able to replicate all the physical elements, right, after you get past that, then you've got to worry about replicating all the visual elements. All the paint scratches and scuff marks, and how are you supposed to do, like, areas where fingers have worn off on the bodywork and left. How, like, sometimes you see those light areas where fingerprints will often go, and it's like knocked off that sort of darkened sort of oxidization or something on the paint. It's like, how are you supposed to do that?
Yeah.
These are things that, and in 32nd scale, it's something you can include in, but in 48 scale, you wouldn't bother. It's not necessary. It's going too far.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, let's say that you're equally as talented equally masterful in your scratch building as you are with your painting and weathering, right? Give it another 5 years, and you'll look at it and you'll go, that is not as good as it could be now. And what, you're going to go back to it? Are you going to redo things? Are you going to make a new one to replace it? It's unending.
The other thing I've got for you, Chris, is to go and have a listen to Model Geeks podcast. All those boys over there in the US, they're all ex-maintainers or even, in one case, I think a pilot of US naval aircraft, and that's pretty much exclusively what they build as well. So perhaps pose that question to them as well, because they're experienced in both sides of it. There's exactly what you have come from, as well as building their subject matter that they know and well understand. There you go. Oh, well. Yeah. Thanks very much for that. Really appreciate it. Next one comes from Aidan O'Donnell. Writes, "Hi guys, I found your last episode to be most interesting. My modelling inspiration comes from documentaries. My areas of interest include the British Army in Normandy and the RAF in the Burma campaign." Oh, that's pretty narrow. RAF and Burma campaign. I'm also a fan of Babylon 5, and I am a little wary of the proposed reboot which is coming, and I hope they don't butcher it too badly. Well,
I will.
Well, I didn't like the original.
I'm a pessimist, so I'm going to say they will.
I didn't like the original Babylon 5.
They've got the same guy doing who did the original.
I'm looking forward to the reboot because I didn't really enjoy Babylon 5 to begin with. So I'm hoping.
I reckon it was quite groundbreaking for its time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Aidan continues on. I've always thought that the ship designs in Babylon 5 were the most imaginative in science fiction. What a shame that there are only a couple of injection molded kits of the Babylon 5 subjects. I've always liked the look of the Earth Force ships and would have broken my wallet for a decent kit of the Hyperion class cruiser or the Omega destroyer. Keep up the good work. That's regards from Aidan O'Donnell. Thanks, mate.
Yeah. See, I've got a thing about like reboots. It's like I don't think a reboot will ever live up to the expectations.
Oh, I disagree. I disagree. And I can give you a classic example. Battlestar Galactica.
Are you kidding? The 3D stuff in that is terrible.
The reboot was brilliant.
Because the storyline in the reboot was great.
I couldn't get over the horrible 3D in that. I mean, that was like almost as bad as watching Escape from LA. You ever watch Escape from LA?
Hang on, what 3D? What are you talking about 3D?
Like you know the way they do the Cylons and it's just so clunky. Like daytime kids TV shows that had 3D elements in it was done with a bigger budget.
Dude, which show were you watching? The Cylons in the reboot were human.
No, not the human ones. The ones that weren't human.
Jeez.
Ian,
what do we do with him, Ian?
Yeah, I don't know. It's his opinion. I was a huge fan.
And like there was that part where what's her name? The pilot, she like gets inside one of the Cylon space fighters and pilots that back.
Yes.
Right? That looked terrible, that ship. Oh
my god.
You have to remember that this show came out after Farscape, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
either at roughly the same time or after, and Farscape had way better graphics. Some little tiny show from Australia had better graphics than a show from the US. It's unheard of.
I know exactly the episode you're talking about, where Starbuck gets into the fighter, and because all the insides is all it's all bio stuff.
Yes,
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I thought the 3D looked like it was done by the Work Experience kid.
Oh, okay.
Hard to please, I suppose.
Jeez, hard to please, all right.
But anyway, back to what I was originally saying about why I don't think reboots are ever as good as their originals. It's because, if you're a fan of the original, your first impressions are molded by what you see there, right? Like, for example, I don't mind the Harry Potter cast for the movies because I saw the first movie, then I went and read all the books, and then I started trying to watch all the other movies, and they were like the pacing and all the plotline stuff was like all out of whack, and I couldn't stand it. But I had the visual representation of those actors in my mind when I read all the books. Right?
Yeah.
What happens is, like, if you read the books first, you end up with an idea of what this character that you've thought of in your head looks like, and then you get presented with a much subpar actor afterwards, and you're like, oh, that doesn't look what I imagined like in the first, at the beginning. And do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Your mental picture that you built up in your mind is generally let down by what appears on the screen.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the Witcher series, but having played the game beforehand, like they did a much better job because obviously like moving a few pixels around and 3D modeling is a lot easier than like actually having to dress Henry Cavill in armor. And they can put a lot more effort into like all the costumes and stuff.
That's another series that I struggled to get through. I was enjoying it, and then it sort of jumped across time and backwards and bit, and I just lost track of it. And again, I haven't watched the second season.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I did watch this week. I watched Greyhound. About
The destroyers.
the US destroyers taking the convoy across the Atlantic. Yeah. It was all right.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad.
The U-boats are a bit sort of superhuman in what they were doing.
Well, plus they had the massive artwork on the towers, which was really correct.
Oh, well, that's what you get when you're in Hollywood. You get a sort of... This is what I don't get, the real life stories are just as exciting, if not even more interesting, without having to sort of do that sort of stuff to it. I don't know.
Exactly. Stuff.
Well, yeah, life is stranger than fiction, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Totally
You get
right.
a lot more like bizarre characters when you start going through history and looking at weird people who've done extraordinary things, eccentrics.
you do
Like
indeed.
people like Mad Jack Churchill.
Yeah, exactly.
On the Normandy beaches with a claymore.
And a bow.
Yeah. Wasn't he one of the only Allied soldiers who was killed an enemy soldier with an English longbow?
Yes, that's right. He did.
I think he also made like an entire group surrender just by himself.
Yeah. He ended up retiring up here in Australia.
Did he really?
Yeah.
He lived in Queensland. It was quite funny. They reckon that I read a thing in the online about him that the railway line used to go past his house. So
we mentioned this, like we brought him up
wind
before.
the window down to the train and throw his briefcase out the window, and then jump off the train so he didn't have to at the station and say on his way back and have to carry his briefcase. Real character.
There are lots of things. Like I was watching a video from Forgotten Weapons, and it was talking about this 30 caliber Browning machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the aircraft version, so it's got like a higher fire rate.
Oh yeah, the one made by the Marines.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
like they based on their ship over to the Pacific fronts, they modified this thing for handheld use.
Yeah.
And the guy who used it, there was a guy who used it, and he, I think it might have been the same guy who invented the thing. But anyway, he basically would go into battle, fire, kill a bunch of people, and then grab an injured person and then take them back. And then he did this like 5 times, and he got a medal for it. But then, like all heroic figures, he ended up biting off more than he could chew at a later date, and
Yep.
became brown bread.
Yep.
All right, guys. I think we will have a quick break before we have a look at what the Falcon has sent us in regards to what's new in the modelling world. So we'll be back very shortly. Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com. Okay, and we're back, and we're going to have a look at what's new in the modelling world. And of course, we can't do so without, of course, hearing from our one and only mysterious Falcon. Well, that's the musical cue and the sound. So let's see what the Falcon's got to say. And he writes in, "Hi Dave, Ian and Julian. Let's start off with aircraft news. Edward have announced that they will be releasing a 148 scale A6M2 Type 21 Pearl Harbor Zero. They have shown some nice CAD renders, but they are a bit small to get a really good look. The first boxing, Tora A6M2 over Pearl Harbor, will be a dual combo kit. That is 2 complete kits, 2 sets of masks, 2 sets of photo etch, and a large decal sheet with marking options for 12 aircraft from the Pearl Harbor attack. It will be a limited edition of 6,000 kits. The first available on December the 1st. Apparently, Edward plan on doing the whole range of Zeros, A6M2 Type 11 right through to the A6M7 Type 63. They will also be kitting the A6M2-N float plane fighter and the A6M2-K two-seat trainer. Looking at the CAD renders of the float plane version, I noticed that Edward have included the bump on the float that covered the fuel drain pipes of the early versions. Real attention to detail that bodes well for the series. What are your thoughts on that, gents?
Oh, no.
Oh, really? No?
No, I mean, no. I'm just thinking how much this is going to end up costing me.
Oh, you would buy it, would you?
Oh, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Yeah, I'd love to do an early Zero.
Well, you'll be able to do almost every Zero, right?
Oh, exactly, yeah. Because I always want to do one from one of the Darwin attacks too.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And there's and with Zeros, you can get some pretty nice paint schemes too. Some interesting ones. So yeah, no, I'm pretty happy about that.
Well, I thought you would be.
Yeah. Something to add to the Pacific campaign.
Yeah.
The Falcon continues. While this all came out of the blue, we shouldn't forget that Edward bought out a 48 scale Spitfire Mark 1 for the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. Maybe we shouldn't have been too surprised about the Zero on the 80th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Speaking of anniversaries, in 2022, it'll be the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Midway, which is when Edward will release the 48 scale Grumman F4F3 Wildcat. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen some CAD rendering of that today, and yeah, it looks really impressive.
Well, apparently Edward are releasing a family of the 48 scale Wildcats beginning in 2022, starting with the various variants of the F4F-3, then the F4F-4, then the FM1 and the FM2, then onto the martlets of the Royal Navy, but not all the martlets apparently. Some are considered too marginal to be worth doing. Reckon that Edward, I should say, is on to another winner with this one, says the Falcon.
Definitely. So there's more money that's gone.
Wow. So here's a question for you. So if Edward are doing all the Zeros from Type 11 right through to the Type 63, if you had them all side by side, would you notice significant differences between them?
Not really.
So it's really for the aficionado.
Not to the average. To the average person, no. Yep. To a Zero aficionado, yes, there are differences, like how far the guns protrude out the wings and different panel positions and clip wings, non-clip wings.
Yeah, I think I'll pass.
Some of them is like various is like just an engine change or something like that. So there might be like a small panel that's in a different position. I'm not an aficionado on Zeros at any length, but there are very slight differences. But to the average casual person, between like a Type 22 early going all the way up to the later versions, you'll see a difference, great difference between the very early to the late. But in between, they start to blend in.
Well, I reckon our friend who we've had on the show a couple of times, Robert from our club, would be pretty excited about this.
He'd be probably all over it. Yeah, definitely.
Geez, I reckon he'd have to buy himself a adult nappy because he'd be wetting himself that much over this.
Well, I mean, he was definitely into Japanese aircraft in the past, but lately all he talks about is bloody T-34s. Okay. So the Falcon continues on. I Love Kit have announced, I've never heard of that,
I Love Kit.
I
Have we
have.
spoken about them before?
Yes, we have. Yes.
All right. What a strange name for a model company. I Love Kit have announced they will be releasing a 148 scale kit of the Lockheed Martin F-22A Raptor. Some people are saying it's probably just a rebox of the Hasegawa kit, but a source supposedly close to I Love Kits says that the kit is an all-new tool. So there you go. ICM have shown CAD renders for their 48 scale Gotha 242A German glider, which is looking extremely good. They have paid a lot of attention to the interior, especially the rear cargo space. Builders will want to leave the rear section hinged open to show all of the structural detail and the very cool looking rows of seats.
That'd be an interesting little project.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Micromere are working on a 72nd scale de Havilland DH-108 Swallow. The Swallow was the British experimental aircraft built to examine the flight characteristics of swept wings. All three crashed with fatal results, expected to be on sale later this year. And that reminds me, there was a terrible movie made which had the British Swallow in it. It's a
really?
1950s, yeah. And they're talking about how they reached the sound barrier and you've got to push the stick forward to sort of break through the sound barrier. Geez, it was a load of waffle. But if you like looking at post-World War II British aircraft, it's enjoyable from that point of view. Yeah.
Yep.
Kinetic Models will be releasing a 148 scale kit of the South African Air Force Cheetah D jet fighter. Kinetic has stated the release is going to be in 2018, so it's a little bit late apparently. Hopefully it will start to appear in shops in very late 2021, early 2022.
Yeah, interesting subject.
Yeah. A new modelling company, Nemo 75, is working on a 172nd scale Airbus A320 Neo.
That'd be huge.
Oh, geez, it will. It will be an injection styrene kit. It will be a very large kit with a span of 497 millimetres with a length of 522.5 millimetres. While the windows look to be depicted by decals, you won't be able to drop the slats and the flaps. Nemo 75 are going to town with other details, and the engines in particular are going to be very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that the airline guys are going to be absolutely apoplectic over this one.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Armour Hobby are hoping to have their 172nd scale P-51B Mustang ready for Christmas. They had planned to have it ready earlier, but were held up by COVID. The designer said this would be more detailed than the earlier kits, and there would be parts out of the box for various sub-variants. Things like alternate nose panels, radios and direction finders, as well as photo reconnaissance cameras. Of course, this takes more time, but I reckon that it'll be worth the wait, says the Falcon. Micromere have almost completed the 3D design for the kit of the Bradley B-2 helicopter, which will be in 132nd scale. You may know this helicopter from the Bond film You Only Live Twice. Yes, the one that looks like it's a flying ice cream cone. The model is slated for release in 2022. Continuing on with aircraft, and Models Fit are saying their 48 scale F-82G Twin Mustang has passed the mould tests and production is about to begin. They have shown sprue pics and box art, but the marking options remain a mystery for now.
Oh, there's going to be such cool markings for those aircraft too.
Infinity Models have started work on their 132nd scale Bristol Beaufighter. No word yet on which variant they'll be depicting. Whatever it is, though, it probably won't be the one that you want, as life is mostly disappointment.
He's becoming a bit of a nihilist now.
He is, isn't he? All right, on to navel gazing. Sapphira Models, an offshoot of Flyhawk Models, have announced a 1/700 scale double kit of the Chinese People Liberations Army Navy Type 093 and Type 094 nuclear-powered submarines. You get two complete kits in one box, and as they are from
Yeah,
stable, we are confident that they will be top-notch.
they do digits.
Yeah. Micromeer have shown CAD renders of a 1/72nd scale Italian Grillo class tracked torpedo boat. Yes, tracked. Little torpedo boat with tracks.
Mamma mia.
I didn't even know. A torpedo boat with tracks.
It's weird, yeah. I have to look that up.
Well, it's Italian.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Well, say no more.
Onto military vehicles. Tiger model will be releasing a 1/35th scale Russian Pantsir S2 missile system. TACOM have announced a 35th scale 2-in-1 kit of the STUH-42 and the Stug 3 OS-FG, which comes with metal barrels for both options. TACOM will be teasing modelers on Facebook with a couple of silhouettes of tracked vehicles with superimposed question marks. We are talking 35th scale here. There have been several guesses about what they might be, but the consensus is they are looking at the US M114 Command and Reconnaissance Carrier. Ooh. If it happens to be the first 1/35th scale injection molded M114, it was a bit of a dog in real life, but it doesn't stop us from wanting the model of it. It was mentioned a while back that Monochrome would be releasing some Dragon model kits for the Japanese market. They said the kits would have improvements. We have seen the first of these. The first is a Panzer 1B, and there are a lot of improvements over the original Dragon release. It couldn't be too hard. Now you get apparently a set of magic tracks, the correct idler wheels, improved road wheels with etched brass, strengthening rings, drivers and fighting compartment interior along with a transmission. They have really bought this older but still good kit up to modern standards, and the street price in Japan is said to be around $35 US, which seems pretty good value. In a Dragon box, it would be more than twice that price. Exactly right. IBG models are saying that their 1/35th scale Italian 3RO 90/53 ammunition carrier, which is a truck, will soon be available. And that's all from the Falcon.
Falcon. Interesting.
You guys got any news about models?
Yeah, but I unfortunately, I've totally forgot the name of the company. I've checked out on Facebook. There was this page I've joined, and it's all First World War model building, mainly armor and stuff like that. And I can't remember the name of the company, but they make a conversion for the Renault, the FT17, that you can turn it into like a Stug type variant. That was a prototype of it, which looks really cool. So it's, if you know the FT17, which I know you do, Dave.
Yep.
Yeah, I do.
Picture that with like a miniaturized version of the A7V shoved between the wheels.
Oh.
But the very front of it has got a cannon.
Very nice.
It's like the gunner will need to lie down on the floor to use it.
Yep.
Main armor, but it just looks great. It looks weird, and yeah, apparently there's this company out there. I'll have to do a bit more research. We'll talk about it next probably podcast. But yeah, it's some of the stuff they're coming out with, like from the unusual stuff from the First World War. There's some really great modeling subjects, really fantastic.
Cool. Well, let's move on to the main subject of the show, and this is in response to Julian. Actually, you came up with this idea.
You can start it off.
Which is no doubt perhaps going to attract quite a bit of email response. And by the way, if you do want to send us an email, you can do so by using onthebench64@gmail.com. Love getting emails from you guys, our listeners, guys and gals, I should say. And please feel free to write in and give us your thoughts on what Julian is about to launch into.
Yeah, so it's about when you should throw your model kits away.
Interesting subject.
So I got onto this because lately I've been thinking of throwing like a bunch of my models away. And the reason being I've got too many like open projects that I've started but haven't
built models or projects on the way.
Well, just any model in general. Right. But I mean, you know, aside from like say for example when you realize that the kit that you bought for an ambitious project, but it was the best kit around at the time, and then they brought out something new, like a new version of it, you kind of like, well, I'd like to sell this thing, but there's chances are no one would buy it because no one wanted it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like for example, when I did my P38H, which it was originally supposed to be a G or an F, but it ended up being a H, but whatever.
Which kit was this?
The crappy Academy one that many people have started and not finished.
Yep.
And then, that's probably a kit I should have thrown away. Because if I had, I would have had the pleasure of building the Tamiya one less than 2 years later.
Right.
I really should have.
Yeah, but you're not you don't have a crystal ball, Julian, so you can't see what's coming out in the future that far ahead.
But see, like the thing is, like when I built it, I said, I don't know why this mainstream subject has not been done in a better kit. It really, like, why has no one like snapped up this real estate? It's perfect.
Because you haven't started the project yet, Julian. And
then Tamiya brought that out, and then I said the same thing about the Hellcat, and they did the same for that.
Yep.
And I would give you I would give you a third one, but I can't think of a third one.
I've got a. You go.
No, you go.
Oh, well, I know exactly what you mean. I've got a was it a HPH? I think it is resin 48 scale Heinkel 2198, which is an amazing resin kit. It has full engine detail, photo etch, brass. It's got everything you can think of. Vac form for the panels, but it's such a massive project. And then I was halfway through it, and what gets released? Tamiya releases one in 48 scale. Looks just as good, and he's like, you can get it built in probably a 16th of the time. And so thus this kit is now sitting half built in my stash for the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm. You should chuck it away.
Fortune when I bought it, so I don't want to throw it out.
Yeah, but it's worth next to nothing now.
Exactly. It's a loss.
Yeah, but like I said, I got onto this train of thought because like I've got too many open projects and they're stifling me. Like I just look at this big pile of stuff to slog through, and I'm just not enthused by any of it. I should really just throw it all away and just grab a new kit out of the stash and go fresh, clean slate. I'm going to start this and I'm going to finish it.
Yeah, well.
Because
I'll just put it away for a while.
I don't like.
When it comes to building kits, if it starts to give me the irrits, I'll just put it away and do something else, and come back to it later. Might take 12 months, but I'll get back to it eventually. Sometimes.
My problem with that is,
I remember the Stugguide sitting on my shelf of doom for nearly 20 years. It took nearly 20 years to finish that kit.
Yeah, see, I don't really cycle back around. I find new genres and then I go off on that. So if I don't finish something now, I'll never finish it.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So I've got this COVID gave me this, before COVID, I was in the habit of building one kit and then finishing it. And I got into that habit and I kept myself to it, and it was really good and I was very productive. And then COVID came, and now I've got like this string of unfinished kits that are, tied up around my neck, choking me out. It's really quite depressing.
Well, here's my thoughts. Life's too short for shitty kits.
Yes, I agree.
If you've got something there that you've started, you got two choices. You can throw it into the well of tears, or you can just box it up and flog it off on a swap and sell. There's plenty of kits that you buy at swap and sell that are started. Even if it's given $5 to you, yeah, why not? But, yeah, man, life's just way too short to build.
What I do, Dave, is
stuff the
kits I don't sell at swap and sells, I usually donate to the club. I've donated some half decent kits.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's another thing. I mean, there's, a couple of different charities out there, and I'm really not too sure about what ones are sort of operating in Australia, but certainly I know in the US and the UK there's that Model for Heroes, which our good friends on Just Making Conversation are part of, Malcolm. G'day to you. Donate kits that you don't want to build to them.
Yeah. Better than giving someone else in landfill.
Yeah, well, I mean, I give away a lot of kits as well, as you've heard over the years. A lot of my finished kits that have been sitting on the shelf for a while. It's like, well, I don't really need it there anymore.
Yep, I've got one of yours sitting in my shelf at the moment, Julian, on display.
Oh, what was that? I can't remember.
That was the Musharoo Cup model.
Oh, right, was it? Yeah.
Oh, plus you got our little figures.
And I got your your little figures from
Space Marine.
Our Space Marine build that we did.
Didn't I also give you my Lexington?
No, you didn't.
Oh, I should have.
Well, what happened to it?
It's at someone's house, I think.
It's not at my house. I can tell you that right
in
now.
any case, I'm not missing it. I don't care enough about it. Does not worry me. I mean, like if I cared enough about the Lexington as a subject, first of all, I would build it in a different time period so that I could actually be certain of what color the deck is, right? And I would also do it in a different scale. I would probably do it in a larger scale because that was not a great kit and not the ideal scale for it.
So here's the thing: stepping back to your original opening statement, I think we need to sort of clarify.
Yes, I would throw it away. Well, if I was forced to take it back, I would throw that away.
No, I think we need to sort of put a fence around a couple of these things. So, first of all, when we're talking about throwing away kits, are we talking about unbuilt, partially built, or completely built? All of them. All right.
Yeah, because generally modelers don't throw away any of these.
Well, that's because some people are collectors, and obviously you don't recognise yourself as being a collector.
No. Yeah, I tell you what. I know of a collector, sort of. I actually got an email the other day from our club's website, and it was from a lady saying, my husband, she didn't specify whether he died or not, but in any case, she was selling off all of his kits.
Yep.
And she was wondering, or not even selling, I don't think. I think she was just giving them away.
Yep.
I can't remember. In any case, it was mostly 70-second scale stuff, so, I pass it on to people who I know who do 70-second scale stuff, and whether they did anything with it, I don't know, but there's an example of a collector. Apparently, her husband got into modeling in the 90s, rekindling his, childhood dreams, didn't build much of anything at all, and just amassed a hoard of kits. And that's a very definition of a collector. And like all collectors, all of his stuff has to go somewhere sometime. So
I don't remember getting.
So it really should go in the bin.
Well,
I mean, from the description, it's a lot of 70-second scale Hasegawa and some frog kits and some old Airfix stuff, and it's all from stuff that people would have bought in the 90s.
I reckon I beat you with that one when I got that box of frog kits from the 60s.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but there's that middle period, where it's after the point where it's nice and new, but it's before the point where it becomes an antique thing that's worth something. It's in that middle period where it's worth nothing and it's just garbage. I think that's
they like them things, so yeah, give them to them.
Yeah, well, I know they're the hoarders. They're the people who end up, hoarding 30 crappy cars in a barn, and then one day, 50 years later, he keels over, and all of his relatives go into the old barn and go, "Oh, look at all these! These are worth a fortune."
Didn't know Granddad had a Maserati.
Yeah.
Well, see, I won't throw away a unbuilt kit. I will throw away a kit that I have started that is fighting me every inch of the way. I just won't put up with that time-wasting stuff, and that just goes straight to the well of tears. As for completed ones. I don't think I've ever thrown out a completed one because if I've built it, that means I've got past the point where it was annoying me to build, and it's finished now. And so therefore,
I'll admit, Dave, I've done the odd rage disposalment.
It's quite therapeutic and cathartic. Getting a model that you're having something
you spent months on just destroying in a few seconds.
Just getting it, just launching it against the wall. Man, it is so satisfying. Especially when it's been biting your ass for months and months and months. It's just that all that tension and anger that's inside you just suddenly released in hundreds of pieces as it, to quote another modelling podcast, you colonise that kit against the wall.
Yes.
I didn't. Ian, you know how like you often say, "I won't let a kit beat me."
Oh yeah.
Look, yeah. But
I'm not saying
it's very satisfying to beat the kit in a physical sense, you know.
Yeah.
Especially when it's it's giving you nothing but trouble every step of the way, you know.
Oh, definitely. Look, there's some kits I've managed to get all the way through, and there's some kits, I just haven't.
Well, why don't you list off some of those kits that you lost the struggle with patience with?
Well, it was the England for starters. That had a that was nearly 12 months between working on it and then putting it aside and then working on it till I got sick of it again.
No, you didn't throw it away. I mean, I'm talking ones you actually threw away.
Oh, I remember doing a Ford Flivver, 48 scale.
A what?
A Ford Flivver. It was a little experimental aircraft that Henry Ford was working on in the 20s, I think. Little single seat little aeroplane that the Ford company were thinking about building.
Okay, who made the kit?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. No, it wasn't Polar Arts. I can't remember. It was one of the Pegasus or something like one of the older, very old brand. Very old kit anyway, but it was a nice little kit and it went together quite nicely. But yeah, then I, being young and stupid, used the wrong tape after doing a really nice job with the decal, putting the Ford logo on the side on the blue and then putting clear coat on, doing my metal finishes. Had to do a bit of touch up, so I put the masking tape over the decal to protect it. Took the tape off and the decal came with it, and about a second and a half later it was buried into the side of the bench. The kit was. Now, I spent a good month building that. I wired up the engine and it was just a nice little project that would have looked quite good, like light blue with the Ford on the side and the silver wings, a little single seat aircraft, no guns, and didn't make it.
Was it
Williams Brothers? That's who made the kit. Williams Brothers, because also there's another kit that ended up of theirs that didn't quite make it, and that was a 32nd scale GB, which I totally went nuts, scratch building the interior and opening up the cockpit and the doors, and just didn't. Got to the painting stage and completely made a mess of the paint because I was quite young and still learning, and once the paint had half melted the plastic, it was like, nah, can't resurrect this anymore. Bye-bye.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, it's harder to see the point where it's unsalvageable.
Yeah, well,
these days because
completely wreck it. Yeah, there's no if the paint you're using the acetone, I can't remember what I did, but whatever I used must have been like an acetone base or something because it just totally ate into the plastic real bad, and plastic got soft and droopy, and it was not good.
I think like if you've got like an old kit and it's got white decals and you screw those up, you might be looking at a point where you can't go any further. There's no salvaging it. You know?
I'll relate
like
to
you. Can't...
I'll relate to you two stories of kits that have ended in the well of tears. The first one was a 1/72nd scale Airfix rescue boat of the RLNI. And I'm painting this and I'm decaling it, and just something went horribly wrong with the paint in that it all sort of bubbled and everything. So intense frustration, bang, straight into the well of tears, never to be seen again. So disappointed with myself. Then went and bought another one, which is now sitting in my stash, partially built. Not that there's any fault in the kit itself. It was just me at the time. What was the other one I did? I was building 1/44th scale B47, and I'd painted it, deckled it, and then for some reason I had to put some tape over the wings while I did something, and when I lifted the tape, the decal and the paint came off with it. So another one, boom. Sorry.
I'm seeing some patterns here.
Well, you are seeing some patterns here, yeah.
Decaling can kill kits.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
But shitty fit kits. I mean, I've had a couple of. I'm on a borderline at the moment with a Centurion tank that I'm building. It's a AFE kit, and I just can't get the rear deck to sit properly in it, and I'm this close to chucking that down thing in the bin as well. It's just driving me nuts.
Wait, which kit was this? What?
Oh, the AFE club kit.
AFE club kit, Centurion tank for the Australian Army.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, right.
It is just chewing my ass.
What is it? Is the compartment like warped or?
Yeah, the lower hull was sort of warped to begin with, so I've done all sorts of stuff, and it's just still not sitting right, and it's sitting in the box at the moment. Every time I open up and have a look at the stash, I go, your life expectancy is limited.
You may have to do your most dreaded thing.
What's that?
Mud.
Mud? No. You can't. I can't do mud because it's the top deck, and it you can't do mud up there. No. It just won't work.
From boots.
I'd have to bury the whole hull into the mud and just have the turret sticking out for it to work.
Well, there you go. There's a fix.
You're not the only one I know of who's had trouble with that kit.
Dude, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
I'll have that to look forward to when I do mine. Eventually.
I've got a kit here that I keep forgetting to throw away, and I really should. It's the Dragon Sexton 2, Dragon Models Sexton 2. It's a sort of Sherman-based
anti-tank.
No, it's a mobile artillery type.
Oh, the artillery
thing.
one. Sorry, yeah.
Used by the British. And Dragon dropped the ball on that kit hard because like it's got like these two storage bins and the very rear vertical point, sort of surface of the vehicle, and none of it fits together properly. Yeah, you sort of like you basically end up having to measure things out and go, well, none of these figures add up, and I'm not sure which part I should clip big chunks out of. And I've clipped big chunks out of it, and things still don't fit together properly. It's a nightmare.
See, life's too short for that sort of stuff, man. I'm telling you, this hobby's supposed to be enjoyable. You're not supposed to sit down there and pull your hair out. If you're at the bench and you're screaming and crying and spitting at the wall, there's something seriously wrong, man.
Yeah. I mean, like another kit I should probably throw away is I've got the... is it Yak 3? Yeah, it's a Yak 3, I think, from Zvezda.
No, don't probably. Just toss that damn thing.
Yeah, so it's actually not a bad kit. It's actually quite a good kit. The problem is the canopy was mismolded.
Hey, let's do this. Why don't you just reach over and grab that kit, and while we're broadcasting, actually crush it on your bench close to the microphone.
Come on. Let's not get too dramatic. You see, have you ever seen the movie Office? Have you ever seen the movie Office Space?
I have, yeah. I have.
Yeah, you know how there's that scene where, because they're always in the office, they're always at odds with the printer.
Yep.
Because the printer is always giving them trouble, and then there's like this dramatic scene where they're playing all this rap music while they beat up the printer in like a local park with like a baseball bat and stuff. And it's all in slow-mo, and it's like them sort of like taking out their anger on this printer.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, it's like a 90s era printer. So you know how like what it was like working with printers in the 90s, They're making all the bloody buzzing sounds, and you're having trouble like actually getting it to show up on the network, and
come on, Julian, grab that kit and smash it while next to the microphone, and that way this can then morph into a model horror show, and I can put an R rating at the beginning of the show. Come on, do it.
No,
you want to.
I can't be bothered. It's out of arm's reach at the moment. I'm
Well,
just
grab
gonna
another
sit
kit
here.
and do that anyway. It'll be great.
No, because you know what? I stick
I
my
noticed,
models
Dave, you're
together.
not talking about yourself here.
Well, I'd have to go through and grab a kit out of the stash that I want to get rid of, and it's a bit of a walk from the studio to my build room.
Mm.
And
Whatever.
it'd be dead air because I'd have to leave you two talking while I go and get it. And that'd affect the ratings just leaving you two together.
All right. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm sort of in a bit of a dilemma of whether I should chuck a kit. And I bought the what was it? The Datsun 240Z car kit.
Dog of a kit.
From,
Dog of a kit.
From I think it's Oshima.
Aoshima.
Yeah. And you know, it's probably not bad of a kit, all things considered. But I bought that like a month or two before Tamiya released their one. Right? Oh, but the sticking point is that I've got all this aftermarket to do all this body kit type of stuff for the Oshima kit. But on the other hand, the Tamiya kit doesn't have any aftermarket to do the version I want.
Yeah, that'd just be a bog standard.
Yeah. So they released the ZG version, which is the one with the stupid duckbill nose on it. And I don't like it. You know, I want I'm going to have to wait for that to be replaced with some aftermarket resin type stuff. But there's no guarantee it'll be ones that I like, you know. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, like my ideal model of a Datsun 240Z is neither of these. It's actually just one without the duckbill nose and just sort of fairly, you know, stock standard, and I can throw some nice wheels on it. Dunzo. I'll be happy. But there's no kit of that, and like I'm not sure if there's any way to do it with the kit as is, you know, because there might be a case where you can leave off the part for the duckbill nose, but then there's no grill behind that you would see on the regular cars, and it's like, well, maybe I should chuck it out, maybe I shouldn't. I'm just gonna have to wait a while and then maybe chuck it.
Yep.
Oh, Dave has stepped away. He's gonna go find something to break, I suppose.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. Like I've got the same. Well, now that we all know that eventually Edward's going to be releasing the P40s, the early P40s in 48 scale, I've got a heap of the Airfix ones now with every imaginable photo etch and resin accessory that I could think of at the time shoved in the boxes, which once the Edward kits come out, well, they're redundant in my stash.
Yeah. Well, also all your Hasegawa ones as well, right?
Yeah, all the Hasegawa kits, yeah.
Well, why don't you take this opportunity to cull the stash?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to wait until it comes out, because then you'll never get rid of them.
Yeah, then everyone will be getting rid of them. Worth looking into. Definitely worth looking into, but geez, that's a big job.
Another kit I want to get rid of is probably the Mercedes SL 300. Is it 300 or whatever it was?
Oh, the Gullwing.
The Gullwing thing. So what happened with that is I mucked up on the valve cover. It's got like these chrome parts for the little like, I don't know, knob things that go onto the valve cover. And I went to put them in with super glue, but I put too much super glue and it went everywhere. And I had to touch it up with some I had to wipe the excess and then touch it up with a brush, and it doesn't match, and it just looks garbage. And the problem is there was already a decal on top of there.
Yep.
So
You can't hide it with leads?
No, not at all. No, not at all. It's not possible. But that's not enough for me to throw away the kit. What is enough for me to throw away the kit is that after putting down like God knows how many layers of really thin clear gloss, is that I then dropped the bonnet on, or hood if you're American, on the concrete floor of my garage. And it chipped off on the edge, and and that's after all the issues I had, you know, like fixing a bloody blemish in it, and I'm just over it. Like
But something like that's fixable. If it's just one part that's not glued onto the kit yet. Just take plastic and just repaint it.
Well,
I can't be bothered.
Yeah, okay.
And also, the paint that I've already painted it with is that bloody zero paints stuff that is, you know, hot enough that, you know, you put it in the same room as a plastic kit and the kit starts melting. You know, I'm never going to use that paint ever again. It's just not worth the trouble.
Well, I've gone and come back again, and I've dug out a model that has been sitting in there that deserves to go to the Well of Tears. It's a submarine, which is back from the early days of my building. Was never completed because I sanded it so far on one side that it's not round anymore. I've got mismatched parts. And so now I'm just going to put a warning in front of this because our listeners are going to hear the destruction of a model that deserves to go into the bin anyway. So if sounds of tearing plastic and styrene causes you issues, please turn off now. And
okay, before the gore starts, don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself, Dave, because you'd be surprised how actually tough the plastic is.
No.
I mean, it's all like if you were to take a plane, no. What, you got a hammer or a pair of vice grips or something?
Here we go. You ready? Stand by. 3, 2, 1.
And I think Dave...
you did a pretty good job.
He's breaking it, but there's no sound.
What do you mean there's no sound? You can't hear that ripping and tearing?
Now we can.
That's enough. It's in at least 4 pieces. You can leave it at that.
4 pieces is all over my floor, man. I left a mark on the bench where I whacked it. I got a paint stain here. Okay, so
one of those hold my beer moments, wasn't it, Dave?
It was. Gee, that was so satisfying, man. I got no idea where the look, bits right over there as well.
There you go.
I'm surprised you because I don't know about you, but on the odd occasion where I've actually intentionally broken a kit, they're pretty tough sometimes. Either that or I build them very tough.
Well, clearly,
I mean all the little tiny things will come off pretty easily, but the actual fuselage or hull of a tank is it's somewhat durable.
That's all the parts of. Actually, there's more parts count than when the actual kit first came in the box. Now,
well, you would hope so. It is a submarine. It really should just be 2 pieces and a few more.
That was very satisfying. Oh, I've got to go find another one and do that another day. That's good.
You've been on your own for too long. We really got to get back in that studio to keep you under control.
Oh, we do. Oh, gosh. All right, I think we're creeping up towards the end of the episode, guys. So let's think about wrapping up. Oh, before we do, I forgot to mention that there are lots of other wonderful podcasts to listen to. So if you want to find out where they are, you can go to modelpodcast.com, which got a listing of most of the modelling podcasts that are now available to you to listen to.
How many podcasts are there on there?
A lot. I think there's about 6 or 7 now. I haven't been recently to have a look, but there's quite a few. And
and you go.
No, you go in. I'd hate to interrupt you.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, I just remembered the name of that company that makes all the great First World War prototype stuff, and it's Yellow House Club.
Oh, cool. Okay.
They got some great stuff. Just go to their Facebook page and have a look. They got some fantastic, great, eclectic, old-timey, nearly steampunky stuff. That's all from the First World War and around that era.
Now, that guy was at Las Vegas IPMS, wasn't he?
Correct.
Yeah.
He makes good stuff. Yeah, because the one I was looking at was the French Assault SPG Renault FT. Oh, it's an FT75 BS prototype. And it's just one of the coolest looking things around. I love it. All
right. Okay. I think that's about it. So we'll pass over to you, Ian.
Well, we all know Fredo Witch is your friend.
Julian?
We'll see you all in 2 weeks' time, or speak to you all in 2 weeks' time.
Throw out some models. I might as well keep with the theme.
All right, thanks for that, guys. Guys, it's been wonderful having you on the show. And as Ian said, we'll be back in 2 weeks, so we'll see you then.
Bye.